Hey everyone, Happy New Year. I hope that you had a fabulous Christmas and New Year season. I know we did here in Alaska and also got to take a trip to Nashville, which was super fun. If you haven't been to Nashville, I highly, highly, highly recommend it, especially if you're music junkies like we are. Actually, that's what my husband and I did last night. We sat up in our bar and listened to, we have a lot of vintage audio equipment. So we were pairing the records, the vinyl with the appropriate audio equipment so that you can hear what it was really intended to sound like, which was pretty cool. And that's like, hey, Aaron, that's a lot like chiropractic. Are you able to live out your full potential? Is there harmony, right, between your brain and all your cells and tissues through your nerve system? So what Dr. Brian and I are going to do today is just to help you and give you some communication tips for now that life has been kind of chaotic and people are coming back into practice and having a schedule again. How do we meet people where they are? Which is, my life is, typically kind of frantic. I'm here. I'm to get adjusted. I'm, doing lots of other things, and yet make impact in those short minutes that we have with them for them to understand how powerful their body is. So, Brian, thanks so much for joining me.
Sure. Glad to be here.
So how do you do that? How do you take the vast knowledge that you have about chiropractic principles, about the human body, about philosophy, and make it into bite-sized chunks at this time of year?
Number one, and this was probably one of the hardest lessons, was a lot of the chiropractic philosophy is for me and not to be vomited upon the patient. And so to a degree, and I teach chiropractic philosophy. I work with it a lot, so I love to talk about it. So it's difficult at times for me to leave school at school versus bringing school into my patients. What do my patients care about? They want to know if I can help them at the end of the day. That's the big thing, right? We have the four things. What do I have? Can you fix it? How long and how much? Well, the big thing is none of the other three really care as long as you don't tell them that they can help them. And so, number one of the biggest lessons I've learned is I'm telling them every day about the nervous system, 30 seconds, right? Hey, Barbara, great to see you. You're laying down there, and, just to remind you, we're checking you for subluxation. And this is where the brain sending messages down to the body, but it can't because right here you have a kink in the hose. Okay, great. And so one of the ways I might do it with a patient now would be like, hey, Barbara, let's say I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, right? Or even if I did see you, last couple of weeks was great because here in my office, we were open Monday and Thursday, but not Tuesday and Wednesday like we normally are. And so, hey, Barb, so good to see you again. Let me ask you something. Feel kind of disjointed around here the last couple of weeks?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just been chaos.
Yeah, you kind of don't even know what day it is and that type of thing. Well, listen, what we do is we check you for the subluxation, and basically that's what happens in your body. It's kind of chaos in your body. So your body doesn't exactly know what it's supposed to be doing at a particular moment. And so when you get your adjustment, that's kind of like all the holiday stress goes away and you're just functioning like you normally could. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and
And
that's it.
and I love how, we meet people where they are. I also just really wanted to remind all of you that chiropractic miracles, though they're common, that we see them all the time, the person they're happening for, it's a big deal. Like, my husband has been having some amazing chiropractic breakthroughs, and he'll say to me, like, after he gets adjusted, like I just breathe better. Just these things are happening. And I'm like, well, duh. And I
Right.
have to step back and go, but wait, this is his experience. This is his miracle. Like, the fact that, like, it's making sense now that it's a first for him. And so I want to encourage all of you to be in the moment with your practice members when they have that breakthrough of, oh, like this adjustment will help me like become better organized. This adjustment will help me do all of these things. Yes, absolutely. Your body has ability to organize its cells and tissues. And when there's too much stress, it can't do that. Just like how unorganized we all are typically over the holidays, the same is true in your nervous system. And then what are the benefits at home when you get organized? And now what are the benefits and what can you expect from this adjustment now that you've been organized? So for those of you who do whiteboard topics, a really great whiteboard topic to lead in this conversation could be just one word, chaos. It
Mm-hmm.
could be the word organized. It could be the word like, back on schedule. What does that mean? And why does that feel so good? And that's exactly the natural state that your spine, your nerve system want to be in. They want to be back aligned. They want to be in order, and subluxation prevents them from doing that. So Brian, let's say that how let's say a practice member who's been around longer and they get that. How would you take this same conversation to weave in some chiropractic philosophy and principles?
So they get what? They get that.
They get that subluxation is going to make me chaotic. They get
Right.
that I need to be aligned. How do you take that to the next level with, because not every conversation with each practice member is obviously going to be the same.
Right.
Some may be new and some may have been in another chiropractor's office. So what are the different levels that you discuss chaos in the nervous system with your practice members?
For me, it might be. So you're saying if you're on a maintenance plan or a wellness plan, maybe by this point.
Yeah.
So if you take a maintenance plan person, it might be, well, first of all, Barb, Merry Christmas. The best present you can give yourself is with a healthy, functioning nervous system. So you're as healthy as you can possibly be. And remember, way back when you started, we were seeing you like 3 times a week for X amount of weeks.
Yes.
Right. Well, that's because your body was kind of in that holiday chaos, right? You didn't know which mall to go to, and it took a lot of work to calm everything down. The beauty of it now is because your body's in a whole lot less chaos. We can see you, less and less, and just keep you on maintenance. And let me ask you this: would you rather come see me once every week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is, versus coming in 3 times a week for a month and a half?
Less is better.
Less is always better, and that's my job, believe it or not, Dr. Barb, is that I want to adjust you as little as possible. The only way I know is that I have to check your spine, and so I love not having to adjust you. That's wonderful. So I'm proud of you. You're the hero of this story that's keeping the chaos out of your life. I'm only the guy in the back. I can't do anything unless you walk in. So again, thank you for giving yourself the best Christmas present ever. And every day you get adjusted is Happy New Year.
I love that. And I love how you brought it around to like, we're a partnership. I can only do my job if you show up. And if you show up, I can do my job. I encourage all of you to remember too, like this is a great time, like Brian is talking about, of rewarding your practice members, to even ask them, like, compare this Christmas to the Christmas prior. Did you find you were able to go through the stress of the holidays with less infraction? Like, do you typically get sick and this year you didn't? Were you able to handle Aunt Mildred better than the year before? And then to forecast future, like I'm on a leadership team for the Wealth Factory. And one of the things we talked about today was that leadership is a leader is someone who creates a future that wouldn't otherwise exist. A leader is the person who creates a future that otherwise wouldn't exist. So what are you helping your practice members now create moving forward? Like, okay, so New Year's and Christmas, all of that is behind us. What's the next big event that their nerve system needs to be organized and aligned for to go through that with great success? Stacy said, be the hero in your story. Yeah, absolutely. Of making the whole conversation about our practice members and how our partnership with them is what is going to help them live a better life. Hey, Elizabeth, Stacy, Cameron, Michael, Erin, Nicole. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Brian says, hello. I just had a really great question to ask you about that. Partnership.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your habit for or your team's standard for recognizing that your brand is the adjustment and more and the relationship? Because I don't believe that people stick around just for the adjustment, that it's
No.
got to be more than that. So what does your brand stand for in developing that relationship, Brian, and making it the partnership like you just talked about?
For us, it's I tell the patients and I tell Tina, my CA, our job is to make this the best part of their day.
Mm.
And so what, things that we stand for, we need to be really super clean with our procedures. I don't want them to feel jerked around at all. And so my word for the year is going to be train. And the issue is, so I'm on my third CA within the last couple of years. And some of that just has to do with me being a teacher at Sherman College. We haven't had the training protocol that we need to have. It would be nice if we did our new patient orientations and they got it. I think we all know that they don't. And our CAs are no different. And so we have to keep working with them and that it is a partnership. This is lousy for me to tell my CA she's got to be perfect out front when we don't even work on it. And so for us, it's just to train. And how can we make their day? This is the best visit that they have. I love it when we get busy here, and I don't have a huge waiting room, but it's big enough to where all they're doing is having conversations. I love it when a patient will say, "Hey, you go ahead. I'm just going to sit here and talk to this guy for a little bit." That's where it's while on my side is Pickens for the town I live in, family chiropractic, and it's not that we just take care of families, but we are the family. And so, we want to be the functional family versus the dysfunctional family a lot of us have. And so the thing that we stand for is integrity. So we don't jerk the patient around, and we just have procedures that are hopefully they're getting cleaner and more crisp. And that's why I'm having people come in. I had a guy today, notoriously, I won't see him for months and months, and then he comes back in and he's worse than he was the time before. And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? Same stuff?" He goes, "No, I just want to keep it that way." And I think what finally happened with him was when he came in this last time, it was one of those where I'm a squirrel person, so I love talking about everything. And now it's like in this space, what I have to stand for is chiropractic. This space is about chiropractic, where that's all they're going to get. If I want to talk about the Super Bowl or something else, there's got to be a chiropractic message in there. Our great advantage over allopathy is that we see our patients way more regularly. And so we cannot, so our thing is we cannot lose that opportunity. And so for me with Tina, it's that integrity and training to where, hey, this has to be done the same way every time. It's like shooting a free throw. If we do everything the same, then we give ourselves a much better chance for success. I mean, I know, I read about the students, I read in my evaluations where they don't want to feel like a robot doing a certain script. And it's not about you feeling like a robot. It's about the patient knowing that they have something that you can take care of. And so say the damn script and be really, really good at it. Because when you're really, really good at it, that's when you can freestyle a little bit. And so because the patient doesn't know my scripts, but that script is there for me to know, all right, I know this stuff. These are the 4, 5, 6, 19 things I know that's really important to be said. So that helps me. So it's just got to be training and knowing in my head, did I make this the person's best visit today? Was this the best thing that they did? Hopefully. And so I hope that answered your question, because that's what we're about.
Like, woo, yeah. And a system, in order for it to be successful, it must be measurable, reproducible, innovative, and we must eliminate discretion. So anyone who says, I don't want to have to say scripts. Okay. So the next time that you go out to a restaurant or the next time you go to your bank or you go to whatever, if it was totally different, how would you feel
Right.
about it? If they
Yeah.
said something completely different? And here's the deal. We all say scripts all day long. They're the
Right.
things that we commonly say, like, hey, Brian, how are you? Oh, I'm
Right.
fine. How are you? Like, that's a script, right? And just somewhere along the line, I think scripts got a bad rap because there was a period of coaching and management in this profession that it it was just like be a robot.
Right.
But like Brian is just talking about there, when you know what you're going to say, what you are going to accomplish through your procedures, and it's already a part of how you're doing things, then it does give you the confidence to be able to be present time conscious, right? Like
Right.
you're not thinking so much about like, oh, I got to make sure I do this, and I got to make sure I do this, and I got to make sure I do this, that it's already part of how you're going to do that visit. So you
Right.
can be in the moment. And that's where mastery really comes in, right? So there's unconscious incompetence, which is I don't even know what I don't know. Then there's conscious incompetence, which I know I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's for you. That's coming up as soon as you get into practice. And there's conscious competence, which is I know that I know that I know. And then there's mastery. Like so often in the boot camp, I'll hear from docs like, I just wish I could communicate like you do. And like really ask the questions. Well, like here's my secret. I've practiced like so much.
Right.
Practice, 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 practice. And like Brian is talking about with training our teams, that it cannot be something on the back burner. It has to be something on the very, very front end, and practice your systems. For those who are in the boot camp, like use the daily success sheet as a guide to practicing your systems so that they stay dialed in. Like those are the plays that you run in order to deliver that exceptional experience for that visit to be the best thing of that person's day. So I know you have a hard stop right now. Any last minute comments that you want to make?
No, and I'm excited for the year because I know that as of December 31st, I'm a way better chiropractor than I was the previous January 1st. And so what I'm looking forward to is now we can say, all right, what's the next level that we can get to? And because there's a lot of sick people out there, and we I was on a cruise, and I'll finish with this. So I was on a chiropractic CE cruise, and if you want to know anything about that, please message me, and I'll get you details for the next one because there will be a next one. But one of the party that was with us, so one of them, he was a DC, and his girlfriend gets a message where her nephew had just committed suicide, and so while we're out on the boat, right, and at the table that I was at, Irene Gold was there, and my wife, she says, yeah, I really wanted to ask, because Irene was telling a story about how she wasn't able, she just couldn't imagine, women that have kids with special needs, how they just fight for them, just relentlessly, and do these amazing things. And my wife says, well, why, what she wanted to say, what about you and Reggie? They didn't have kids. Chiropractic was their kid. To where how we do this type of stuff. And so for me, it's with the suicide thing, I told my wife, I said, this is why I go away on the weekends, and this is why we have to talk to our patients every day, because these things are happening to people that are sick, and we are the answer. And so with January 1st coming on, and we're a week into it already, I am, as excited as ever. You know, chiropractic's one of my kids. And so I owe it to my patients to be a master at it. And here's what I know, I'm not. And I'm pretty good at some things, I'm not so good at others. And so I need to enhance the good things, and then I need to really work on the things that I'm not. And I need to take my team along with me so that we have, a healthier community. The major premise ends with the word existence. We create a better existence for our patients and our patients' families and the communities that they live in through the power of the chiropractic adjustment. And what an awesome freaking thing it is that we do. And
Mm-hmm.
so honor that and respect it, and let me treat it, because we've been given, we have been given the sacred trust. So we
Yeah.
do need to guard it well, and not guard it, but we need to use it. well.
Yeah. And we do have like I heard of another story today of um a guy that my husband and I know. He's our age. His mom went in for a high fever just before Christmas. 28 days later, died.
Mm,
Like the worst place that anyone can be is the hospital. So do
right,
everything that you can to prevent yourself from being a statistic in the hospital. And that means stay healthy so you're out of it, because like that's the second person that I've heard of in the last 30 days who went to the hospital for, like they were okay, like
right,
up until that point they weren't like fighting some chronic illness, and in a short amount of time died.
right,
Like let's make sure that that's not happening on our watch, right?
right.
Let's make sure that we're telling the story, and even when it's uncomfortable, and that we're training so that when our practice members are there we can deliver the goods 100%. So
Yep.
that brings me to the banner above, the Pediatric Boot Camp. Listen, I've assembled some amazing teachers to roll up their sleeves and get real with you um, on um, on really developing your pediatric practice. That we cannot be rookies at this. We have to be professionals. We have to be experts in caring for children. And number one, we have to be able to like properly evaluate a child to determine the severity and complexity of subluxation that is robbing
Right,
them of their optimum potential. And then knowing how to support the family, knowing all of the different ways that kids show up nowadays that were way different than 20 years ago. So do yourself and your community a favor, get to the Pediatric Boot Camp. It's at Sherman College, February 29th through March 1st, all day Saturday and half a day on Sunday. Your lunch is included, your brunch is included. We have several opportunities for us all to be together and really get to know each other as well. So please go to 56daychirobootcamp.com/Sherman Sherman Peds, and you will be able to see all of the information and join us. There are a few seats left for students and a few seats left for doctors. I have capped the whole event at 65 because we want to be able to give as much personalized attention as possible. So Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks to each one of you who joined us. We will catch you again. Are we on next Tuesday and next Monday?
we can be.
All right, so next Monday, Brian and I are going to jump back into and move through the rest of Stevenson's 33 principles, and then we'll be going back to the top and developing those for all of you as whiteboard topics as well. So thanks so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye.